In the summer of 2010 is where my riding began. I went to visit my grandparents for 2 weeks in Yorkshire and stayed with them. This is where my auntie invited me to go to the stables with her to meet her horse, Chloe. Chloe was a chestnut mare, as you can see pictured here. But she wasn't a typical chestnut mare. She was the most sweetest horse I've ever met in my life, and she was the first horse I ever sat on. So my auntie offered to give me a leg up, which didn't go very well because she threw me straight over the other side, but that was a memory that I'll cherish forever. She took me into the arena and me and Chloe had a lesson with the lady who owned my auntie's barn at the time. And I really enjoyed this, and this is what started my career with riding. Now, because I'd been up to Yorkshire, I begged my mum when I came back home to let me go and have riding lessons, much to her dismay. My mum used to ride when she was younger, but she had quite a bad fall that knocked her confidence, so she just stopped riding. So my mum contacted the local riding school and we set up to have some lessons, which then resulted in me working there on a Saturday in return for a lesson. I was very lucky to be able to ride lots of different horses, and once I'd progressed a bit in my riding, I was able to be put on some more challenging horses, which really helped with my riding. But I really enjoyed this experience, and it's something that I will never forget and has helped me become the rider I am today. So the following summer I went to stay with my auntie, and she'd moved her horses and her friend's horse to her house, which meant more riding for me. Yay! So I really enjoyed this summer as it was progressing my riding. My auntie gave me a lesson every day. We went out and did lots of hacking, and I just really enjoyed this. So this lovely horse here is William, my auntie's friend's horse, who my uncle had on loan at the time. And he was such a gentle giant. I really loved riding him because he was so gentle. He didn't ever put a foot wrong, and he was so forgiving with the way he went. William really improved my riding because he not only taught me how to use my lower leg more, as he was very well trained, but he also taught me how to use my hands and keep my hands in a better position. And I know what you're thinking, don't we just look like Charlotte and Vallegro? I mean, come on, look how great we look. So as I'd been riding for about a year now, my auntie decided it was a great time to teach me how to jump. Yes, I mean, look at this big oxer, Olympic standard right here. Look at this great position. But all in all, very professional. I think we should have gone to Hickstead, to be honest. And what better way to learn how to jump would to be take you off the lunge line, throw you at a big, 160 fence and just carry on going. So I told the riding school that I'd been doing some jumping with my auntie at home, so they decided to put me on some of their jumping ponies, who I loved and adored. And this is the lovely Trixie, who really taught me how to jump properly. She was one pony that I really gelled with, and I adore her still to this day. I see little updates of her every now and again. She's obviously getting a bit older now, but she was the best pony I've ever ridden and learnt to jump on, and she just gave me her absolute everything. And when I left the riding school, I was so upset. So one day in the summer, I got a message from my auntie to say that she'd bought 2 little Shetlands, one called Tinkerbell and one called Bertie, and I was allowed to choose which one I could call my own. So of course I chose Bertie, who's the cheekiest little pony ever. Still have him to this day, but he's obviously very old now. Did some showing stuff with him a couple of years ago, and he was just an absolute angel. I love him to bits. He's just the cutest little pony I've ever met. Bertie really taught me more about the care that goes into having horses, and I think this has really helped me with becoming the horse person that I am today, because I've had this from a very young age where I've had to take care of him. Here is a picture of when we went showing, and he didn't like it very much. So fast forward to 2014 when I got my very first lone pony. This is the lovely Jet, who I loved and adored, but only had him for a short while, as one day I went down to the yard and he wasn't in his field. The owner had taken her 2 horses, Jet and her other one, and randomly moved yards without telling me or my mum. So then the yard owner offered me some of her ponies to ride in exchange for doing a couple of hours work on a Saturday, which I really enjoyed, and it gave me the opportunity to ride some more difficult horses. This is Fudge, the one that I had my very first proper fall on that landed me in hospital with a knackered knee, but yeah, I won't go into too much detail about that. But yeah, this really taught me to ride the fizzy ponies, the ones that had a bit more strong will. I got opportunities to ride youngsters, go up to the hunt meets, which was really good for my riding. Really taught me how to use my seat and aids instead of using my hands. So yeah, I really enjoyed this experience, and it's one that I will never forget. So in the following summer I went back up to my auntie's, as I did most summers, and she'd got a new horse for my uncle to ride. This is Spritz, and he was a replacement for William because unfortunately he passed away due to neurological issues. And obviously spending some time with my gorgeous little Bertie. So then I stopped riding at the hunt yard, and my mum saw a lady advertising on Facebook for someone to come and exercise her cob, so I took up the lovely Pip, and this really helped because I didn't have anyone watching over me, nobody to tell me what was right and what was wrong. So I really had to use my own initiative and start thinking for myself a bit more with riding, but I really enjoyed riding him as he was so much fun to go for a good little canter up the hills, pop a little jump every now and then, but he was so sweet. So the following summer I went back up to my auntie's, of course, and she'd got a new little pony called Charlie, a little Welsh, and he was so sweet, and he gave me my first ever proper hunting experience. Although I'd been at the hunt yards, I'd only ever been to the meets with the horses. So he was the first pony that I actually took to an actual day's hunting, which was interesting because he took off full pelt right up to the front with all the top hunt masters and decided to jump all the dips in the field. Meanwhile, I was like screaming my head off because I'm only very young, and my auntie's right at the back absolutely wetting herself. And this summer I started to ride Spritz a lot more, and he really started the love for my jumping. He taught me so much about seeing a stride and making sure that you've got the right canter, and he really taught me the passion for jumping and started my love for it. And as you can see in these pictures, he used to overachieve a little bit. He used to take off from quite far away, but I'd say that we are pretty much, badminton, what we saying? Now, taking us into 2016 was when I got my second lone pony, Dora. She was a thoroughbred cross cob, and she was very much thoroughbred. She definitely had a lot of spirit about her, but she was a jumping machine. I absolutely adored taking her to the local arena and just popping around loads of different fences. And it really taught me how to ride a lot better. So while having Dora, someone had put in the local news thing that we get in our village, a advert to come and ride a ex-Team GB dressage horse, which obviously I took up the opportunity to ride. This is the lovely Nadonna. So I rode her, it must have been for about 2 years I was riding her, but obviously she was very well trained, so it taught me all the different dressage moves, taught me where the different buttons were and what to do to make horses extend and collect. She really taught me a lot about the dressage scene, obviously because of her level. She was due to go to one of the big Olympic events but had a injury which stopped her from doing that, but I really enjoyed riding her. She was so lovely, and this was probably one of the highlights of my riding career. Having the opportunity to ride her was just amazing. And then obviously again I went back up to my auntie's in the summer, and this is when she had Diva, and this was the year that I had my really bad fall on Diva. I do have some pictures somewhere but I can't find them, but I'm going to go into more detail about what happened in the fall in a different video. But yeah, she was obviously the crazy thoroughbred mare that my auntie decided to buy for my uncle. But first time I ever got on her, she was so sweet, and really did take care of me. And then obviously I took her jumping and just went a little bit wrong. Rider error though. So in this video is my auntie's new horse, Finn. He's a 14-2 Connemara, and anybody in the horse industry knows how amazing Connies are. They're so versatile, and he really taught me a lot about, again, dressage stuff. I was able to practice some of the moves on him because he was very well schooled. He was also quite good at jumping, but he had issues with his knees, so he wasn't able to do much jumping at all. But yeah, I really enjoyed him. He was so much fun, just a whizzy little pony that you could just get out, do some schooling on, or go for a hack, or go for a gallop, or do whatever, and he would just not be fazed by nothing. My auntie got him because she had to retire Chloe as she was having issues with her shoulders. And then this takes us into 2018, where I got the lovely Pogo on loan, and he was a dressage horse. He used to be a show jumper in his prime, but he slowed down and went into doing dressage, and he taught me again a lot about dressage, a lot about using my body, where to use my hands, and just riding more, I don't know, less nervy. I'd had my bad fall on Diva before I had him on loan, so he really built up my confidence. I started getting poles and stuff out with him, and he really taught me how to not be nervous. But I just owe everything to him. He was so lovely to ride, and his owner Louise I'm still in contact with now, and she was so lovely with me. Like, she helped me so much with my riding. She also helped with my nerves and stuff, and I just owe it all to them. And I don't think I'd be where I am today if I didn't have these two. I do just also want to put it out there that my auntie is one of my biggest role models with my riding. I've always looked up to her with the way that she rides, and I would not have even been anywhere where I am today without her. She obviously started my whole riding, and I'm very thankful that she did. I'd love to insert some pictures or videos of her riding, but I know she'd kill me. And then obviously in 2019 I got my beautiful Diva, who I have obviously had a lot of ups and downs with, and this is why I wanted to create this channel, because I wanted to show you the positives and negatives of riding. So obviously she was owned by my auntie, and she was bought for my uncle after Spritz passed away due to colic, but she was too much for him, so I ended up having her, and it's not been easy, but it's tested me and it's made me a better rider for having something That's probably a bit too much for me, if I'm being honest, but I haven't looked back. She's cost me a lot of money, but I'm really hoping that the outcome is going to be what I hope for. So thank you very much for listening to this video. Hope you enjoyed a insight into my riding. Probably not the best video. I might do an updated one when I've learned a little bit more how to use my recording equipment, but this will do for now. So yeah, thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you next week with another video. Bye.